All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise, honor, and glory is due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, who you people out there know as God, and his beloved Son, whom the world ignorantly referred to as Jesus Christ, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue, the proper pronunciation would be Yahweh Shah. All right, the true powers of heavens and earth. I also want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men whom we believe through faith to be the prophets of old, raised up in these last days to establish the words of the Heavenly Father, his only begotten Son, and to all the sincere brethren out there that's doing likewise, continuing in that legacy, Shalom. So yeah, there's going to be yet another World War III update centered around some information that came out today via a press conference from the Secretary of Defense, this guy James Mad Dog Mattis, all right? And Lord will, I'm going to bring out the article, all right, where this guy basically mentioned Russia and China as well, pretty much highlighting them as the top threat to America, surpassing the threat of terrorism, all right, which that's a unprecedented idea, you know, because when you go all the way back to the 90s, Desert Storm, you know, 9/11, the big boogeyman was the so-called terrorists, all right? But now you got that shift in momentum where the United States is identifying Russia as being the top, threat, all right, to the U.S. And why is this important? Because this is all biblical prophecy. We've been speaking about this storm with our apostles for years, and a lot of people didn't entertain that. They dismissed that whole idea. But now you see this thing gaining momentum. You see Russia coming more and more on the radar, all right? And this is all spoken of in the Bible. Because what you people don't understand out there is that America is mentioned in the Bible, man. And not only is it mentioned and spoken of in the Bible, but the fate of America. Now, you're not going to find the word America or United States of America, of course, because the Bible is a hidden book. It's a book of grave sentences, metaphors, parables. But you're going to find key buzzwords that symbolize America, all right, such as Babylon, Babylon the Great. That's dealing with America. And according to the Bible and the prophecies found in the Bible, America is going to be destroyed and taken in this nuclear holocaust that's going to be spearheaded by Russia. All right? Now, I want to go into this article, all right, this information with this guy James Mattis, which is the Secretary of Defense. All right, and this came out today, mind you, straight from Pentagon. All right, it says China, Russia outpace terrorism threat. All right. Now, it says Defense Secretary James Mattis speaks about the National Defense Review. Friday, January 19th, 2018 in Washington, which is today, China's expanding military and increasingly aggressive Russia are among the U.S. military's top national security priorities, the Pentagon said Friday. So it says, countering China's rapidly expanding military and an increasingly aggressive Russia are now the U.S. military's top national security priorities, outpacing the threat of terrorism, the Pentagon said Friday. Right, and that's a monumental statement because, again, the big boogeyman has been, the so-called threat of terrorism that come in the form of, coming out of Hezbollah, and you had, what's these different, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, all right? But now you got, coming straight out of Pentagon, them identifying Russia and China as the top priority, man. Which we all understand that whole balance of power, the top two military mights on the planet is Russia and America, man. So we've been telling you about World War III for years, and you people didn't want to believe it, all right? Now, this the thing. It's no more up for debate as concerning World War III, because really we in the middle of World War III, man, all right? The climax of World War III when those ICBM missiles is going to be actually shot throughout the world. So it says, a new national defense strategy says that competition with China and Russia has threatened America's military advantage around the world, and it will require increased investment to make U.S. force more lethal, agile, and ready for war. Right? See, the Lord is taking away the power from the U.S., which this is not nothing foreign if you got a feel for history and biblical timelines. Because when you go into ancient empires, which America is a kingdom, it's an empire. When we go into previous empires, they all had one common theme. They all fell. They had a time where they rose into power and they fell. And it's no different than America, with America. And one of the common threads is they lost the advantage in their military might, all right? And again, this is all biblical prophecy. It says, we will continue to prosecute the campaign against terrorists, but great power competition, not terrorism, is now the primary focus of U.S. Right, see, because really this proves that America is full of BS. That whole terror, all right, was nothing but a figment of your imagination, man. They created that whole boogeyman, all right? It's what you call auto ab chaos, order through chaos, where they create the problem and they bring about the solution. See, it never was a terror threat, all right? America, the U.S. was the terrorist, but now it's a mirror, so to speak, put up in their face. They got to face the reality that, like this guy just said, it's not terrorism, it's now the primary focus. But great power competition, not terrorism, is now the primary focus of the U.S. So it's not about terrorism. It never really was, okay? But now they coming out admitting that it's the focus is power competition, all right? It says National Security Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said in prepared remarks at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies in Washington. He declared the defeat of the Islamic State group's physically caliphate in Iraq and Syria, but warned that IS, Al-Qaeda, and other extremists, I guess that's ISIS, continue as threats across the globe. The document reflects persistent U.S. worries about China's military building up in the South China Sea, its move to expand its political and economic influence around the globe, right, because China is behind that yuan, all right, that new currency, where the petrodollar is going to fade away. It says, in what has long been described as Beijing's systematic campaign of cyber attacks and data theft from government agencies and private U.S. corporations. Right, that's another thing with World War III. This is a different war, all right? This is a more advanced war, and one of the ongoing battles is cyber war, where you got these different sides trying to hack into the power grids. So we're in the middle of World War III right now, all right? It says, and it underscores American concerns about Russia's aggressive military moves, including the invasion of Ukraine and involvement in the Syrian war, as well as its meddling in the 2016 election. You know, which, you know, this is a big article, all right? We're not going to read all of it, but you get the gist of what's going on. And this is all dealing with biblical prophecy, all right? So I want to start off in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter. In the 9th verse, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, and this is spoken of by the prophet Joel. And what do a prophet do? They prophesy. So Joel is prophesying about what's going to take place in the latter days, which we are in those times. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. let the weak say I am strong, right? So what you're witnessing is these different countries beating their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears, meaning taking their resources and turning it into military might, all right? Scriptures say, let the weak say I am strong. So now you got these different nations. For an example, Iran, they thumbing their nose up at America. They're not concerned with America. Why? Because it's a level playing field, all right? They got the capability to go to war. It's an old saying, there's no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And this is all the Heavenly Father, all right? Making it a level playing field. Now you got America somewhat, you know, in a roundabout way seeking for sympathy. You know, they coming out as if it's Russia's fault and China's fault that they beefing up their military. It wasn't a problem when you was, you know, governing and policing the world. Now these different nations, really spearheaded by Russia, all right, is beginning to come into play. And speaking of Russia, this is Revelation 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as the feet of a bear, right? And this is a parable, which is talking about and is speaking about the, basically this is a timeline concerning the so-called white man and his rulership, all right? It says the head was like as a leopard, meaning the beginning of their rulership. If you consider a body, a human body, and you compare it to a timeline, the head will be the start and the feet will be the end. So it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as the feet of a bear. That leopard is symbolic to the Greeks, Alexander the Greek. That's when the so-called white man came into power. But it say, and his feet was as the feet of a bear, meaning the so-called white man's rulership is going to come to an end by way of Russia, which is the bear, all right? Because the feet is the end of your body. So the reign of terror that's been on display by the so-called white man is going to come to an end by Russia. Now you might say, well, they're all so-called white people, all right? Yeah, so-called white man is going to take himself out. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Book of Matthew, the 12th chapter. And start at the 25th verse. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought into desolation. Right. So the so-called white man has reign over the earth, but they divided against each other. All right. The Russians are so-called white people and Americans are so-called white people, which your biblical nationality is the nation of Edom. You the Edomites. All right. But you're not ruling the planet in harmony. This is your chance to rule the planet and you're divided. It says, in every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Right, so this rule of the so-called white man will never stand because they at each other's throats. All right? So again, America's going to be taken out by Russia, which Russia is the bear. All right? Now when you go to... I think that's the book of Matthew 20, let me see, 24th chapter. Yeah, in the 32nd verse it says, now learn a parable of the fig tree, when his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh, right? So when you go back to the Cold War, all right, because you got to remember the Bible is a book of parables and grave sentences. Everything is symbolic. For the most part. Now, when you go back to the Cold War, Russia was off the radar, all right? And what does a bear do in the winter? It hibernate. That's why through the spirit, Russia is, his symbol is the bear. So in the Cold War, he was hibernating. But what do a bear do in the summertime? They come out, and they come out looking to eat. That's why Yahushua said this. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is not. All right? So now this is the time where Russia, the bear, is out. He's looking for blood, and he's going to accomplish that feat by taking out America. All right? So y'all hope there was an edifying lesson. Until the next time I say shalom.